In sport, the outputs are so measurable. So success or failure is very, very evident. And so that's a good starting point. The other thing in sport, and this is the first key element of any team, is it's pretty evident what their purpose is. And so that's the first key element in any team, is that it has to have a well-defined, well-communicated purpose that everybody is aware of. So in sport, that will probably ultimately be winning a tournament, but that's then broken down to winning a particular game, and that's then broken down to preparing for that game. So there's a separate purpose every day that is relevant to that team, but it's very easily understood and fully communicated to the people within that team. So that's the first kind of key element, but it also explains why sport works really, really well in terms of understanding how a high-performing team performs. Once the purpose is established, the second important factor is to ensure that the roles within the team are aligned to the purpose. So what do you actually need to do to deliver that purpose, and then create your roles based upon the criteria that's required. And once those roles are fully defined, it's then a question of ensuring that everybody has complete clarity as to what their role is. So after the purpose, the next key element is to understand what I need to do. Equally as important as what I need to do is why I'm doing it. So where does my role fit into the organisation? It's my research and wider research has proven that if someone understands why they're doing something, they're much more motivated and much more engaged and more likely to be successful and get more job satisfaction. Once I understand what my role is and I understand where it fits in, I then need to have the skills, materials and equipment to fulfill my role. Skills were broken down into two separate areas. It's personal skills, personal attributes, and within that, attitude plays a very important part. And then there's the technical skills to deliver the function that I'm employed to do. Once I understand the purpose as an employee, I understand the purpose, I know what my role is, I see that my role is helping fulfill that purpose, I have complete clarity in what I do, I know why I'm doing it and where it fits into the rest of the organisation, and I've got the required skills, materials and equipment to do that work. The key driver of engagement and success is that I spend as much time as I can doing what I'm good at. So, of course, in the work environment, I'm not going to be able to spend 100% of the time doing what I'm good at. I'm going to have to do other tasks. But if I'm doing somewhere between 60 and 70 to maybe 80% of my time is spent doing what I'm good at, I'm 6 times more engaged in the organisation and motivated to fulfill my role. And the research that I've undertaken with elite sports teams has shown that more people doing what they're good at more of the time leads to success. So as a manager, you need to understand what your team are good at. So each individual, even if they're employed in broadly the same role, will have different attributes and be better at some things than others. So by understanding your people and knowing what they're good at, then you can look to make slight amendments to roles and certainly allocation of tasks to ensure that they're spending as much time as they can doing what they do best. The organisation then needs to have a clear and appropriate reward and recognition system. So that can be anything from pay through to interaction in one-to-ones, the way that we praise people and appreciate their performance. Praise fundamentally falls into 3 different categories. First, praise from the boss, and that is generally expected, and most managers will give praise. The key thing, of course, is to make sure it's sincere and appropriate. So praise from the boss is important and does contribute to the culture of an organisation. The second is praise from third parties, from customers and clients of an organisation. If the purpose of an organisation is to provide good service to their clients, feedback on that service back to the workforce is obviously important. The final aspect of praise, which I've found certainly in elite sport is the most important, is praise from peers. So praise from teammates is the most important form of praise and is the one that increases engagement and makes individuals feel that they want to go that extra mile and they're putting the team first. They're doing it for their teammates as opposed for themselves or even sometimes for their boss. Once we have those first 4 key elements in place aligned to the purpose, we get our first output. And that is people start to care about the team and start to care about each other. So whilst I term that's a key element, it's actually an output. And you don't get that output until you've got those first 4 things in place aligned to a very clear purpose.